Tunis, capital of Tunisia, heart of the country. The Paris of North Africa is a metropolis with a long history. In the center of the Medina and ring-like, the domed roof of the souk encircles the Olive-Tree Mosque, spiritual center of the Old Town. In 732 AD, the foundation stone was laid for the Mosque et Zitouna. Legend has it that where the mosque now stands, there was a miracle-performing olive tree. Originally, its design was rather plain, but it was later transformed into a larger Friday mosque, and in the 13th and 14th centuries, it became a high school complex. The striking arcades in the four-cornered courtyard are supported by richly decorated marble and granite pillars that originate from Roman Carthage. Its ancient appearance has been well preserved and indicates the artistry of those times. Adorned with fine pottery, a 44-meter-high minaret, the top of which was completed in 1834, rises above the mosque and can be seen from all around. Entry to this distinguished Islamic school and its large prayer hall is prohibited to non-Muslims. The central market district dates back to the Hafsidic and Early Christian period. Here, there's something for everyone, many of the goods being skillfully crafted under the watchful eye of prospective purchasers. Each day, many of the local men are to be seen playing board games amid all the nearby hustle and bustle. A popular afternoon pastime. While strolling through the markets, it's like being part of an Arabian fairy tale with all the magic of the 1001 Nights. The Medina in Tunis is the largest and most well-preserved town in the country. Today, it is mainly a residential district for the poor, but its restored buildings highlight its former splendor. The leisurely ambience of the city's Moorish coffee houses still exists today. Café Mrabet is one of the most famous. Further local skills are demonstrated in the craftsman's souk, and the creation of a traditional head is an intriguing sight. The tall octagonal minaret of the Sidi Youssef Mosque is an example of Tunisia's earliest Syric building design. Opposite is the Dar-el-Bey, former palace of the Turkish monarchs. Next to the mosque are the securely guarded government buildings. The new building complexes incorporate the architectural styles of the Old Town. A gold souk is to be found in every Arabian town. Here, gold and silversmiths sell their wares according to weight. This small enclosed inner courtyard has a dramatic history. It was here at the time of the slave trade. The slaves were chained to these red-green pillars while waiting to be sold to the highest bidder. Painted signs above the shop entrances and artistic metalwork on the gates further demonstrate the city's former prosperity. For several years, Tunis was at the mercy of the Ottoman and Spanish Habsburg rulers. Then followed Turkish occupation, in spite of it being a French protectorate. Following independence in 1956, Tunis was transformed. But the intriguing, picturesque alleys of the Old Town have maintained their irresistible Arabian charm. The Mosque Al-Aqsa is one of the many mosques in the Old Town. Although Islamic belief here strictly adheres to the Quran, it is not fanatical. Today, blacksmiths still work with an open fire and with the most basic tools create an amazing variety of ironware. There was already a settlement in Tunis when, in 814 BC, the Phoenicians established Carthage. In 984 BC, the Aghlabiden made it their capital city. Tunis was at its zenith during the Hafsid period. In 1534, the Turkish corsair Kheyr ed-Din invaded, and then, a year later, Karl V conquered the city. Dar Ben Abdallah is a splendid palace that dates back to the 18th century and, since 1975, has incorporated a folklore museum that is well worth a visit. A large, cool courtyard is dominated by a central marble fountain. It's surrounded by both residential and official rooms that cannot be seen from the main entrance. The lavish lifestyle of the 19th century is on full display in numerous rooms. Precious furniture and crystal chandeliers, as well as beautifully attired life-size dolls. And there's even a fully equipped traditional kitchen that has been reinstated to its original splendor. Not far away, there is an historic building, the exterior of which gives little away. Dar-el-Bey Mausoleum was built in the 18th century. It is the burial place of the Hussein-id-Din dynasty that ruled from 1705 AD. The complex houses the bones of various monarchs, their wives, and government ministers from the time of Ottoman rule. Its stucco walls and marble pillars are of Italian Renaissance influence, but set in the gentle white elegance that is typical of the country. Even the small inner courtyard contains a number of graves. Numerous burial chambers encircle this place of eternal peace and prevent the access of unwanted visitors. The graves of the men have been separated from those of the women. On the headstone of each grave, there is a small marble pillar that is covered with a traditional turban. Each turban indicates the importance of each of the deceased. In around 1600 AD, the Dar-el-Bey Palace was the residence of Bey Ottoman. With a splendid portal and lavish courtyard in Arabic Moorish style, this city palace epitomizes the Osmanic lifestyle. Aziza, the daughter of the Bey, became famous by giving to the poor all that her father had illicitly obtained through piracy. La Madrasa Slimania is one of the many religious schools that were established during Hafsid rule. Tunis was the scientific and religious center of the Maghreb, during which time spiritual life reached a new height. Muslims believe that the Quran is proof that Muhammad was a direct descendant of Allah and that the original of the Holy Book is kept in heaven. The country's arts and crafts have an age-old tradition. Doors are given artistic mountings and each aspect is given various motifs designed to fend off evil spirits. The architecture of the artistically decorated balconies is typical of Tunis and adds to the beauty of the houses. The narrow lanes of the Old Town are tantamount to open-air shops, and there's a fantastic array of bags and boxes full of exotic aromatic spices. A trader offers various kinds of delicious olives, and next to him there are wooden boxes full of clucking hens. There's also a large assortment of handmade lamps. Tunis is the political, economic and cultural center of the country, a combination of both the traditional and the contemporary. The exquisite Habib Bourguiba Street leads through the modern section of Tunis. It contains the extraordinary Art Nouveau facade of the Théâtre de la Ville, a fascinating building that looks back to a colourful epoch. Hordes of people walk across the middle of the wide street to the entrance of the Old Town. Passing the city's imposing neo-Romantic Catholic cathedral, The mighty building dates back to colonial times and dominates this busy traffic area. From where, as ruler of the world, Jesus surveys the scene. Next, the Porte de France that is also known as Bab el-Ba, gateway to the Old Town. Today, Bardo is an elegant suburb of villas, but in the 19th century, the Turkish beys built their palace district here, and the former harem today contains the Bardo Museum, a majestic building. Apart from the National Museum in Cairo, the Bardo Museum contains the most important exhibits in North Africa and is famous throughout the world. It contains a wonderful overview of Tunisian history and culture. However, the abundance of exhibits is so vast that visitors need more than a little time to take on its fascinating treasures. The museum is also famous for its unique collection of delicate mosaics created by Punic Roman artists. In the section devoted to antiquity, there are various sarcophaguses that contain mummified remains, and also various statues that date back to Greek and Roman times. Arcades and small fountains decorate the reception rooms of the ancient palace, and visitors study the remarkable exhibits. The short train ride from Tunis to Carthage Hannibal Station is like a journey into a bygone age. According to legend, the city of Carthage was founded by Phoenician settlers in 814 BC. The Romans named it Carthage. The city soon began to control the Numidic hinterland and established colonies across the entire western area of the Mediterranean. Relatively little remains of the original Phoenician and Punic buildings. So far, archaeologists have only managed to recover Roman treasures. Carthage Museum was built on historic land that also contains numerous fascinating relics from both the Punic and Roman epochs. At one time, this building was a monastery. The original layout of the city has been reproduced with the aid of detailed models. Until its destruction by the Romans during the Third Punic War, the city contained almost 400,000 inhabitants and thus became the largest metropolis in the Mediterranean. Restoration of numerous valuable discoveries has not yet been completed. In the Punic religion, prophylactic masks were used to deter demons. A variety of Christian artifacts are also on display. The former cathedral is located next to the museum. Close by, there is an array of water cisterns, an impressive example of Roman engineering. The impressive Carthage amphitheatre dates back to the time of Emperor Augustinus. It was a popular setting for cruel and bloody entertainment. In the 3rd century AD, many Christians were slaughtered here. Following Roman tradition, the amphitheatre's arena was the most important location for public entertainment. Earlier, a far more terrible and bloodthirsty spectacle was offered to the Romans in an amazing amphitheatre. The ruins of terraced villas that once belonged to the Roman elite cling to the slopes of picturesque Odeon Hill. The luxurious lifestyle and contemporary architecture of the Romans has remained impressively intact. Between 138 and 161 AD, these astonishing thermes were built based upon designs by Antonin. They're situated in an idyllic setting close to the sea. "15 meters high, this bathing area originally extended 300 meters along the coast and was over 100 meters wide. A well-thought-out subterranean canal system was supplied by numerous cisterns that supplied water from the nearby hills down to the baths. The impressive Thermes of Antonin in Carthage were among the most beautiful and splendid bathing spas in the Roman Empire. The train eventually arrives at Sidi Bou Said, a famous city of artists located on a hill, with blue balconies, windows and doors. The country's most popular tourist destination is well tuned to tourism and exploits it to the full. But it's all rather too obvious. The whitewashed houses with blue doors and window frames are typical of Sidi Bou Said. At the end of the street, almost at the top of Cap Carthage, the famous Café des Nats awaits its next customers, a classical Moorish café with a great atmosphere. And it also provides a wonderful view. Here, time really does appear to have stood still, and it's full of all the evocative ambience of the past. A tranquil, traffic-free world with simple comforts. The shining white houses are a splendid sight, as are the narrow and winding lanes. Like a picturesque Andalusian Pueblo Blanco. Around 3 million people live in this area of Tunis, but its many varied city districts and suburbs give the impression of villages and small towns. Carthage was destroyed to assist the growth of Tunis, a metropolis with a long and fascinating history.